We're asked to solve the quadratic equation by completing the square, then indicate the type of solutions. To begin, we need to isolate the constant term on the right side of the equation, and we'll also leave room to complete the square. Adding 2 to both sides of the equation, we write the equation as 3x squared plus 7x plus blank equals 2 plus blank. Again, we're including the blanks here, so we'll have room to complete the square. However, before we complete the square, we need the coefficient of x squared to be 1, which indicates the next step is to divide both sides by 3. Simplifying, we now have x squared plus 7/3 x plus blank equals 2/3 plus blank. And now we complete the square on the left side of the equation. Look in our notes below. To complete the square on x squared plus or minus bx, we need to add the square of b divided by 2. In our case, notice b is equal to 7/3, and 7/3 divided by 2 is equivalent to 1/2 times 7/3. This indicates we need to add the square of 1/2 times 7/3 to complete the square. This gives us the square of 7/6, which is equal to 49/36. But of course, we need to maintain equality, and therefore we add 49/36 to both sides of the equation. On the right side, to add the two fractions, we need to obtain a common denominator. The least common denominator is 36, indicating we multiply the numerator and denominator of 2/3 by 12. And now let's go back to the left and factor. We should have a perfect square trinomial. When factoring, we'll have two binomial factors. The factors of x squared are x and x. The factors of 49/36 that add to 7/3 will be 7/6 and 7/6. Notice 7/6 is a number we squared to get the 49/36. We have two equal factors of x plus 7/6. On the right side, we have 24/36 plus 49/36, which is equal to 73/36. Notice on the left side, we do have a perfect square trinomial because we have two factors of x plus 7/6. Let's write the left side as the square of x plus 7/6. And now to undo the squaring and solve for x, we take the square root of both sides of the equation. When we do this, though, we include a plus and minus on the right because we do have two solutions. On the left, the square root undoes the squaring. We have x plus 7/6. On the right, we have plus or minus the square root of 73/36, which we can write as plus or minus the square root of 73 divided by the square root of 36. Notice the denominator simplifies perfectly to 6 because the square root of 36 is equal to 6. This gives us x plus 7/6 equals plus or minus square root 73 divided by 6. And now for the last step, we subtract 7/6 on both sides, which gives us x equals plus or minus the square root of 73 divided by 6 minus 7/6, or negative 7/6, plus or minus the square root of 73 divided by 6. Notice we do have two solutions. One is negative 7/6 plus square root 73 divided by 6, as well as negative 7/6 minus square root 73 divided by 6. And this sometimes can be written as negative 7 plus or minus square root 73 all over 6. Because of the square root 73, we have two real irrational solutions. I hope you found this helpful.